This didn't bother me most days anymore, but every now and then, sitting unpartnered at church touched this place in me. It was a strange irony. With my heart open wide in the Lord's presence, my quiet, background disappointment was free to come to the light. I could stroll with the Lord in the garden, so to speak, and I could cultivate good fruit in the world around me. But nakedness, intimacy, being known, with an Adam and a family of my own, well, all of that was perpetually elusive. Of course I knew, intellectually and even in a chunk of my heart, that finding a partner was not the whole story. So much relationally good, substantive human connection was woven like gold thread into my life. Friends close by and around the country with whom love flowed back and forth. In that sense, I really did have the relational piece at least halfway there. But if I were honest, the relational gap still felt real, as if this was not how life was supposed to be, at least for me. And tonight, I felt tired of this snake pit in an otherwise beautiful garden. I legitimately doubted that it was purely in my power to fill the gap, to meet my own longings. I'd done my part for the past 20 years, worked on stuff, been open to date a lot of men even when we weren't a very good fit. Recently, I'd even ventured with a friend into my first ever speed dating experiment at a snazzy bar. But at this moment, driving in my car, I suddenly felt the very strong pull to do anything possible to get rid of the gruesome gap. It just felt too bad. Why should I put up with this ridiculously noisy, unmet longing that I didn't have the power to fill? I considered ways to silence the noise. Maybe that longing for a literal bridegroom needed to be totally spiritualized. I could forget flesh and blood guys and realize that Jesus was my husband and my ministry organization, my family. There was some truth in that, after all. Or perhaps that longing for someone special to build my life with needed to be treated as dead weight, no longer meriting my time, attention, and care. Or cynically tossed with rolling eyes and a knowing scoff into the cheesy category by this smarter woman who now knew better. But even as I contemplated these options, something else crept into my imagination. That Genesis-shaped mosaic of how life ought to be. It glimmered, faint at first, like gold in the light of a dim candle. But its light grew, and in no uncertain terms it radiated its ancient simple truth. These longings for connection, with God, with others, and with creation, are right and good. I've made you for this. There was no promise of a certain kind of future, no insight into big next steps, no guarantee I'd get that for which I was made, only the increasingly vivid reminder that wholeness came into being from the heart of our good Creator God. This was the way He'd originally designed life for His beloved image bearers, for you, for me. It was admittedly painful to recognize that a beautiful aspect of life, as it ought to be, was frustratingly beyond my control. Perhaps you felt this too, the pain of a genuine good always just beyond your reach. But I didn't have to excise a piece of my heart, to risk wanting that goodness, while accepting that it may not ever be mine, was not and never could be foolish. Risk meant remaining a human with an open and a living heart. Laying my head down on my pillow that night, I realized how close I had come to buying the lie that there's no such thing as an ought to be in this life. The lie had such appeal. How simple it would be to tidily decide that good worship, good bonds, and good work were nice if you wanted them and could get them. But if you didn't or couldn't, no worries. Just pick the bits of the package you liked or could make happen, like worship or meaningful work. Discard the rest and watch the gaps disappear. Cut yourself off from the achy parts of your own humanity, and then, presto, pain gone. Move on with your life. This lie had come so close to sounding like wisdom for the journey. God had not shut off that desire in me that, for whatever reasons, had remained an open ache for longer than I would have ever imagined. But that meant I was actually holding on to God's gift of my own heart. That gentle, Genesis-shaped reminder had done its work, telling me that my urge to merge wasn't crazy, nor should it be unnaturally aborted. To the contrary, that reminder gave me the courage to once again offer my whole heart, gaps and all, to my Creator. Then, while gratefully laying hold of the real good in my life, like a great church, a lot of friends, committed extended family, and meaningful work, I could keep moving forward.